10 deadliest avalanches. Number 1 killed 80,000. Hit 15 million. 300 times worse than 921 quake. Number 10. The Kolka Karmadon Rock Ice Slide. On September 20th, 2002, a clear autumn day in the North Caucasus. Locals reveled in orchard harvests. Unaware nature had begun an epic disaster. Kazbek Range is the Caucasus's geological jewel. Icebound year-round yet deadly. Kolka Glacier sits on Mount Kazbek's north slope, where hanging ice, permafrost, and geothermal heat weave a risky geologic puzzle beneath it. In 1835 and 1902, Kolka Glacier collapsed twice, smaller yet still damaging badly. In 2002 at 8 p.m., a huge slab of glacier and rock on Mount Jamara's northeast face broke loose, collapsing fast. Can you imagine a 150 by 200 meter glacier chunk with mud, air, snow, roaring flood-like downhill? The ski run reached 32 kilometers, an unstoppable icy superslide. Records show this landslide totaled 100 million cubic meters, like 4,000 pools. Sliding, friction and compression nearly liquefy some material, amazingly fluid. They rushed into Karmadon Gorge at over 100 kilometers per hour. Villages along the route were nearly engulfed, killing 125. Most heartbreaking was famed Russian director Sergei Bodrov Jr. and his 27-member crew. Back then, they filmed a movie, but never finished their story. Worse, huge glacial lakes pooled at the slide's end, lying quiet in the mountains yet posing future disaster serious risk. Ice lake breach means sheer unimaginable disaster. Scientists warned post-disaster. Warming speeds melt, making mountain glacier collapses bigger and more frequent yearly. In short, such disasters may stop being once-a-century rarities and steadily become the new norm. In nature's classroom, humans are often passive students. The Kolka incident reminds us our grasp of glaciers, alpine geology, and climate change is limited. Tracking these threats better and preparing for possible disasters ahead is a challenge we must meet. 9th, the 2012 Gyari Avalanche. It was April 7, 2012, just an utterly normal morning. The Gyari sky may still hold dawn's glow. Far off, the Karakoram stands there silent, an old giant guarding icy wastelands. Now, 76-kilometer Sayakan Glacier lies quietly among snow and ice. It's the world's second longest glacier, and a disputed India-Pakistan flashpoint still today. Since 1984, both sides have faced off on this empty ice plain. Here it's -30 to -50 degrees Celsius year-round. Low-pressure thin air, gales, blizzards are soldiers daily. Ironically, nobody lives here. Even mice can't survive. Yet it's strategic highland. Two nations still invest heavily. At dawn, a thunderous blast broke the glacier's hush. Ice and snow collapsed, dragging rocks and mud, racing fast toward Gyari base. Almost instantly, the base was buried under 20 meters of snow. Comms died. 140 Pakistani soldiers and 11 contractors were buried under 20 meters of snow and ice. From afar, the base vanished, as if never there. News broke. Pakistan military sent rescue teams. They raced time with helicopters, rescue dogs, and machines, hoping to pull life from the abyss. But the Karakoram spared none. Days later, weather worsened. -50 degrees Celsius and blizzards crushed rescue hopes. In the end, the military declared all missing troops martyrs and began recovering their remains. But on Sayakan, more soldiers die of cold, hypoxia, and avalanches than by bullets. For many here, nature is the real enemy, not troops. The disaster sparked debate. Is the steep cost worth battling over a barren glacier? Sayakan costs hundreds of millions yearly to sustain deployments, and deaths from brutal conditions on both sides already exceed combat losses. Still, Pakistan and India see no real peace progress, burning resources on the frozen battlefield. Maybe the Gyari Avalanche's real legacy is this. As we chase national interests, should we stop and rethink those borderlands bought with blood and lives? In the Karakoram wind, the question is heavy as glacial snow. awaiting human answers. 8. 1918 Sanyu University collapse. January 9, 1918, Mitsumata, Ninunwanuma, Niigata. A still winter night. Yet under calm, the mountain brews inescapable disaster. At 11:20 p.m., Mahira Mountain east of Sanyu village thundered. The peak collapsed, snow cracked, and ice poured down like a flood. In minutes, a 300 by 200 meters avalanche, over 6 meters deep, swept the valley, burying villages and residents. Many villagers never woke up before dawn, doomed to rest in this cold white grave. Rescuers arrived there to a heartbreaking sight. 57 households, 28 destroyed, 158 dead, 155 died by suffocation. A generations-old village was nearly erased by ice and snow. Only 22 survivors were pulled from the rubble. Surprisingly, the avalanche had warning. Since January 2nd, blizzards dumped 300 centimeters of snow in Sanyu village, 2 to 3 times normal winter. Nature warned earlier, but no one foresaw a disaster this huge striking suddenly. Extreme weather sparked the disaster, but the avalanche's exact cause is still uncertain. Many experts blame the hydropower project at the time as the fuse. Near collapsed Mahira Mountain, major tunneling continued. Project blasting may have shaken the slope, sparking cascading avalanches. Not all blame lies with the era's engineering alone. Many believe local deforestation was the quieter culprit behind it all. Those dense forests once anchored snow and helped prevent avalanches. But humans overcut timber. Mitsutama village slopes lost natural cover. They're leaving unsupported snow dangerously unstable. In short, humanity's axe opened the gates to this tragedy. Later, engineers studied cutting nature damage in mountain builds. Vegetation protection finally became a key priority too. Yet lives left in icy snow will never hear the world's call again. Sanyu village's valley is calm again, yet memories it carries won't fade with time. A warning paid in lives. Respect nature to live with it in peace. Number 7. 2010 Salang Avalanche. February 2010. Afghanistan's Salang Pass suffered an unforgettable white calamity. It struck there near 3,400 meters high. Here, this key Afghan transport hub links Kabul to the north, an economic artery and people's lifeline route. Yet this lifeline faces blizzards year-round, like a dancer on thin ice. The 2010 avalanche completely shattered that fragile balance. The disaster of that day began with a violent blizzard. Within hours, over 36 avalanches struck. 17 hit south of the Salang Tunnel, burying 3.5 kilometers of road completely at once. Avalanche struck fast and wide, leaving no time to flee. Cars fell off cliffs. Thousands buried in snow. Sheer chaos everywhere. The tunnel was hell. Cars piled up. Ventilation failed and exhaust filled the sealed space. Survivors faced cold, hypoxia, and a silent fight with deadly CO. Official figures report 172 dead, hundreds injured in the disaster. At disaster peak, about 2,500 were trapped. Many waited in terror and cold, yet hope felt so tiny. After the disaster, war-torn Afghanistan had scant infrastructure and response capacity. International aid became a blizzard lifeline. 500-plus soldiers, helicopters, and heavy equipment rushed in. After days, 2,500 rescued. Countless lives lay buried under deep snow, cold, and carbon monoxide. Unseen executioners still threatened survivors. Most tragic, forecasters warned of a blizzard well in advance, before disaster struck. Yet officials neither closed the tunnel in time nor ordered any evacuation. Plus, a wall near the Salang Tunnel, damaged in an earlier avalanche, stayed unrepaired. All this made avoidable deaths irreversible. Afterward, weather monitoring, warning response, infrastructure upkeep, and stronger post-disaster rescue became buzzwords, yet meaningless for those who died in the snow. Blizzards may return, but may we meet that day better prepared, stronger, and resilient, like the twisting Salang Pass Road. It's hard, yet to reach safety we still have no choice but press on. Number 6. Lahore Valley Avalanche. March 1979. Northern India's Lahaul faced epic disaster. This Himalayan valley in Himachal is famed for grand views and cold. However, that year's blizzard shattered the calm, turning Mountain Haven into a frozen hellscape. In a bitter March, blizzards piled snow fast in Lahaul Valley. Within days, it topped 6 meters. Overloaded snowdrifts collapsed that day, triggering a devastating avalanche. Worst hit was the Tyne Valley region. An avalanche of rock and ice thundered down, instantly turning villages and homes into ruins. People, animals swept into snow, families torn apart. Officially, 232 dead, 525 missing, 12,000 trapped people. Yet many local witnesses say these figures are just the iceberg's tip. Real casualties may be far higher. Scientists say disaster traces back to deeper social ills. Lahaul residents have depended on forests for generations. Logging trees and clearing land keep them alive. Years of overdevelopment left slopes fragile. Forests should guard snow, but without trees, bare ground becomes an unlocked gate, letting avalanches pour into valleys. Before 1979's disaster, Lahaul Valley mountaineers had already repeatedly faced small avalanches. But after each disaster, reflections and warnings blew away again, until this avalanche shoved the whole valley into an unignorable abyss. In mere isolated Lahaul Valley, rebuilding after disaster is a long road. In Thadi, Mahila Mandal women organized community cooperation, promoting sustainable forest management, urged limiting logging, planting trees, and wise land use. These efforts proved vital to post-disaster recovery and set a new standard for Lahaul Valley ecological conservation. India's late-waking government realized ecology mattered. Afterward, in the years after Lahaul strengthened forest management and avalanche monitoring, modern weather tech and early warnings cut disasters' frequency and impact. The 1979 avalanche seemed blizzard fallout, but really resulted from humanity's overuse of natural resources. This disaster, at cost, warned us. Nature isn't endless. It's vital to balance. 5th, 2012 Afghan avalanche. March 4th, 2012. Badakhshan, northeast Afghanistan. 3 avalanches. An unstoppable white surge turned a quiet mountain village into an icy hell overnight. About 200 lived here. After disaster, most of it lay buried under 10-meter deep snow. Official stats: avalanche killed 201 people total, only 56 identified, 145 missing, yet none would ever return from the snow again. Badakhshan province is remote, among Afghanistan's hardest to reach. Winter snow nearly shuts down travel here. After the disaster, Afghan rescue efforts nearly stalled. Storms grounded helicopters, and snow-choked roads kept ground teams from reaching victims quickly. 2 days after the disaster, Tajik rescuers reached the site after a 2-day hike. Afghan helicopters remained grounded by weather. Supplies were scarce. Medicine, food, even basics couldn't reach people. NP Fazia Kufi. Disaster areas had no medicine, food or aid. Inaction unacceptable. Clearly, the disaster stemmed from avalanche force and missing emergency response system. Winter 2012 brought region a 15-year snowfall high. Snowpack far deeper than usual. Scientists proved wild temperature swings can trigger avalanches. Yet in remote Afghanistan, this knowledge still hasn't become real. Effective local prevention plans, early weather monitoring, and risk assessment by residents vital evacuation time. Infrastructure upgrades matter too. Even in mountains, basic roads and emergency stockpiles can save many lives in disasters. The 2012 avalanche is past, but its memory weighs like a snowbound peak. May we face future blizzards better prepared when they strike, less helpless, more hopeful. 4th ranked, Terror Winter. In 1950, the Alps' winter weighed heavy. A Mies road gale, and death waited under valley snow. That year was later known as Terror Winter. In 3 months, 649 avalanches swept the Alps across Switzerland, Austria, and Italy, killing over 265, wrecking towns. Nature passed judgment, and every mountain town shook in dread. To grasp that brutal winter, Begin with the Alps' freak weather that year. Cold air slams into warm, moist currents. Like a smokeless war in the sky, the war dumped huge snow on the Alps. Within days, depth hit 3 to 4.5 meters, more than twice the average yearly. Gales scoured the snowfield, whipping snow into unstable drifts, like towers ready to collapse anytime. These snow towers seemed still, but they await a trigger. A boom, rising wind, even a passing hair. Avalanche triggers kept firing endlessly, and this winter the Alps were ripped open by thunderous avalanche slides. In the Winter of Terror, Austria was among worst hit. 135 dead. In Austria's mountains, some families lost everyone. Herding was shattered, many animals buried, leaving villagers without income. Many remote villages were cut off when snow sealed the roads. Rescuers could only ski or hike in. Yet each step brought fresh avalanche danger ahead. Switzerland's Valais and Graubünden were hit too. In Valais, 92 died, and hundreds of buildings collapsed there. In Switzerland's ski town Andermatt, 6 avalanches struck in a row, like nature's revenge, killing 13 people there in just 1 week. After the disaster, Alpine residents and officials saw they must cut avalanche risk. Barriers were widely installed in mountain slopes quickly. Steel or concrete barriers effectively prevent snowflow from sliding. Also, avalanche monitoring grew. Weather alerts and snowpack checks let residents evacuate early. But these safeguards aren't foolproof. In later decades, the Alps saw more deadly avalanches. Yet the Winter of Terror's lessons stayed etched in every mountain dweller's mind. 1950s winter terror signaled early climate change, not just extreme weather. Warm, moist flow colliding with cold air enabled this unusual weather pattern. For the Alps and other mountains, the Winter of Terror may not be over yet. Extreme weather and avalanches could strike more often again soon. All we can do is prepare early, adapt to living with nature's rules. Third, the 2015 Afghanistan avalanche. Late February 2015. Afghanistan's rugged, deep valleys saw a brutal white tragedy. In 48 hours, snow hit 1.8 meters. Towering snowpacks collapsed under their own weight, turning 4 northeastern Afghan provinces into an icy hellscape. Panjshir was worst hit. 301 died. Countless families shattered. Snow blanketed the village, crushing everyone's hope as well. Afghanistan's harsh terrain and weather breed avalanches year after year. Majestic yet perilous mountains, rugged terrain, and high altitude let snow build up. 2015's abnormal snow weighed down the piles. The avalanche was inevitable. In mountain-ringed Panjshir, quiet villages were swallowed overnight by a sudden white torrent. When the avalanche hit, many couldn't escape home. Quickly buried under meters of deep snow, tiny homes, paper fragile before the snow surge, wiped out hundreds of families in mere second. If the avalanche was the first wave, landslides and floods deliver the second. As snow melts, torrents rush down the mountains, smashing the fragile village into even more ruins. Links to the outside were cut off. Many villages stranded. No help. Rescues delayed. Transport collapse left crews desperate. The Saling Tunnel linking Kabul to the north, Afghanistan's lifeline, was snow-blocked, halting rescues. Thousands shiver awaiting rescue. Aid can't reach them. In the race with time, casualties keep rising by the hour. After disaster, Afghan governments respond slow. No aid, especially the Red Cross, arrived fast. Remoteness and roadblocks still made delivering relief supplies hard. Days after the disaster, many in remote areas still had no help yet. Sadly, Afghanistan's government struggled to coordinate international aid effectively. No major international aid appeal was made, slowing relief allocation. Many victims awaited government action, not supplies. 2015 avalanche again exposed Afghanistan's disaster gaps. Each year, mountain snows endanger highland residents. Afghanistan lacks protection and early warning systems. Nature isn't against us, but its power must be understood and respected. Number 2. 1970 Huascarán in Peru rock snow avalanche. On May 31, 1970, Peru's sky was blue. Calm vanished fast. Mount Huascarán's north peak suddenly roared. An avalanche and mudslide swept Yungay and over 10 nearby villages at the mountain's base, killing over 30,000 in minutes in a flash. One of the deadliest avalanches in human history, nature's merciless force wrote a heartbreaking chapter. Mount Huascarán, in Peru's Ancash, is a major Andes crown peak. In 1962, Huascarán's glacier collapsed once, destroying 9 villages and killing over 4,000 people. Even so, the local government hid the hazard to keep people from panicking. But ignoring it set up 1970's far worse disaster ahead. Yungay and residents lived sheltered by the mountain, unaware, until a violent quake woke the sleeping giant. May 31st, 1970, 3:23 p.m. 7.9 quake hit Ancash. The quake was a fuse, triggering Huascarán's north peak rockfall and shattering the mountain glacier completely at once. Ice, rock, and soil formed a deadly debris flow, roaring downhill. It raced astonishingly up to 435 kilometers per hour. When disaster hit, Yungay residents were enjoying a lively Sunday. Farmers crowded the market. Street traders laughed, unaware the end was near. Survivors said the mudslide arrived. Skies went dark, roaring loudly, and the ground seemed to shake. Then mud surged, swallowing houses, cars, livestock, whole families. Some said earth roared, cities suddenly vanished. Yungay wasn't in the avalanche's path, yet valley terrain still made the mud flow far stronger. The city drowned in moments, leaving almost no survivors. Afterward, Yungay was nearly erased from the map. Today, on this land, disaster ruins still yet stand here silently recounting the horrors of that year. Today, a monument marks Yungay, honoring innocent dead and warning future generations. Nature's power can't be resisted. Revere it. Number 1. Alpine Avalanche. White Friday. Not Black Friday shopping. This turns raw winter into a deadly ice and snow disaster. December 13, 1916. Italian and Austro-Hungarian troops clashed in the snowbound Alps on WWI's Eastern Front. Winter's bite had already pushed the soldiers to the edge. Then an unexpected avalanche became the final straw. White Friday's tragedy wasn't mere chance, but inevitable. Alps snow turned highly unstable as temperatures spiked and snowpack deepened together. The snowpack could collapse anytime. Both sides shelling finally sparked the avalanche at once. To smash trenches, both armies shelled the slope. Blasts loosened snow, unleashing an avalanche that made the mountains a killing machine. At dawn on Mount Marmolada, Austro-Hungarian soldiers woke from a freezing night. Then an avalanche swallowed them. 200,000 tons of snow roared down, burying the camp. Avalanche killed 231 soldiers. Only under 50 survived. Most victims' bodies remain buried in snow and ice. An eternal mystery this range can't solve. That night the 7th Alpini Battalion camp was hit by another avalanche. In the avalanche's path, cabins collapsed. Soldiers stunned to scream were swallowed whole. Italians call this St. Lucia's Black Day, honoring Lucia yet still forever marked by the tragedy's deep scars. Also, the avalanche's damage reached beyond Marmolada and barracks. Records say December alpine avalanches killed 10,000 in total. Across the campaign, over 80,000 soldiers died there too overall. Overnight, ice and snow replaced guns as the battlefield's worst. Blame lies with human greed and short-sightedness. To crush foes, sides shelled the ridge, forgetting the snow mountain itself was worst enemy. In this war, Austria-Hungary and Italy committed over 13 million soldiers plus millions of civilians, one among World War I's bloodiest battles. Even today, White Friday is still an unforgettable World War I chapter. Humans with nature often forget humility and reverence, but White Friday's tale warns us today. Our truly strongest foe isn't each other, but the earth below and cloudless snow above. That's all for today's video. Which of these 10 tragic avalanche disasters impressed you most? Tell us in the comments.